Welcome to the world united. Welcome to the world united.
Personality that needs no introduction. She is Valerie Judith Barrow. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Valerie is an experienced medium, an advanced meditation teacher, and has developed an understanding of how regression into our soul's cosmic consciousness can heal our soul and body. She's a star lady. Her mission is to speak of the sacred Ab-origin Alcaring stone, the seven sisters of the plates, the early evolution of planet Earth, and creation of first humans. She also reveals hidden aspects of her, such as the Egyptian pyramids and the Jesus family. She has she shares her mentor's guidance and insights into many mysterious, unexplained events throughout history. The earth and human lives are not what they seem. Have you thought about why you are here and where you come from? Life here on earth can be magic if we make the right choices. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear these words of wisdom from Valerie Barrow. Welcome, Valerie. We are really honored to have you here and looking forward to hear your words of wisdom, which would enlighten each one of us from this World Parliament of Spirituality. Please continue with this session. Thank you.
Thing, particularly Uluru, as a focus, Dr. Yugandhar is on Uluru, and in particular a meditation to be shared by so many on December the 21st. And the ancestor I work with is known by many of the Indigenous people of Australia, and they call him an ancient creator ancestor. And I find now he's also one of my ancestors, my oversoul, if you like. And his name is Altringa. And actually, I gave a talk at the Cosmic Consciousness Conference at Uluru in January. And before that, he gave me shake. Can you see this? This. He put this on my on my computer. I wouldn't know how to do it. But understand, of course, that the star people have given us all this information about the technology that we use now. And so they will know. When they come from other worlds, I just link it with star people because the Indigenous people in Australia called them, they had initiations and the elders raised in consciousness. Sometimes they'd have near-death experiences and they would just go and then come back completely different person, but initiated. And we were very lucky to be introduced eventually and be friends with Uncle Jerry from Bunjalung. He was a medicine man and he taught a lot about the customs and cultures, gave us understanding about that. But when I first started, I suppose, 39, nearly 40 years ago, actually, because I've had a near-death experience myself and actually was initiated. In actual fact, our soul consciousness was exchanged and I came in a very different person. And I think people have heard that talked about. Sometimes they say or walk in, which my husband and I are. We didn't actually have to come. We've come as one of the 144,000 that are here on this earth at this very, very special time to help raise the consciousness of the people and the earth itself, to move into a eventually new alignment with the core of suns that goes back to the center or the core of all creation, which is a force field, really. And the Indigenous people understand that. And when I say Australian Indigenous people, it's Indigenous, the original people all around the world. They've been able to connect to the earth and stayed with it all along. And with that environment and that feeling and knowing of the energy and the environment, they are part of it, because biochemistry and physically, in physics, we are connected. Our earth body is connected to the earth. And it's so important that we respect our mother, who is the earth, because you need to say to yourself, well, if she wasn't looking after me, where would I be? So we've come here, we've all come here for a reason and a purpose, and that is to hold the new energy that's coming onto this earth at this time, to help gradually lift the energy and the consciousness so that we all become and remember who we were before we came, why we're here, and where we're going. There's another part of us, it's the light being, which you could say is very complicated, had many lives in other worlds, but we are a light being, and that is eternal. And that's the difference. So we've got these two bodies in one. And when we come, I'm just trying to put it very simply, actually, but it's linked to our soul consciousness. And our soul consciousness is with us right from the beginning of when we're forming as an embryo in our mother's womb. And so there's that connection also about mother. And I think now, these days, there's more emphasis on the mother because, and the matriarchal systems were very real in the early Australian Indigenous people, and still are, I believe, Barrister. That's right, isn't it? And it's just that a lot of us, or a lot of people around the world, have got caught up with everyday life and a lot of cement closing off energies that actually link us readily to the environment and the earth itself. And it's important that we actually recognize that and realize it. And when we meditate also, to actually, if we can, go out into the open and feel the sand or the earth under our feet and connect to that energy and meditate. Meditate is like prayer, and it's linked with, can I say, telepathic communication, because in other worlds, in all other worlds, they speak telepathically. And that's why it's very hard for us to realize that they exist. And so they borrow people with a voice box that have agreed to work with them and receive messages, and then they pass through. So I'm just wondering now if I may call on El Sharinga and just share that. I don't know about the timing, Dr. Yugandhar, and whether, you could cut me off or something, or warn him perhaps. It's just that I haven't got a clock or anything. I wasn't prepared like this. So he spoke for quite a while at on stage in January at Uluru with all the delegates there. And he particularly, I must say too, when along the way here, I had a sacred Alkaringa stone, which is a messenger stone. And it came to me, it's a bit of a long story, but it actually came to me and I sat with it, and it was left with me for a couple of years actually as its minder. And it was playing a role of introducing the black with the white in a way, and hoping to help with the need for reconciliation and understanding between the Indigenous people of Australia and the Western people of Australia. And so I actually sat with the stone. I didn't unwrap it. It was wrapped in paper bark with a what do you call a string, and then wrapped also at calico. And I knew I wasn't to unwrap it. I knew that it was men's business, and so I never did open it. But it spoke to me. It's a bit hard to think sometimes that a stone can speak to you, but there's consciousness in everything, and it doesn't necessarily mean a language. It's actually transcribed into a language within our mind, but it's actually a knowing and an understanding. And they also said to me that the knowledge that the stone was giving me, I already knew at another layer of consciousness again, which would have been as a star person. So I've come to talk as a star person. And I am linked with a dreaming story that some of the women hold on to as the eighth sister who would return to the planet Earth. And so I am linked with that. I am a messenger. And I was also, this is the book. It's actually linking, it's a diary really, and I had no intention of writing anything. I just handed myself over and it was published. And apparently it helped quite a lot of stolen children at the time, which was back in 1995. And I didn't understand or know that was going to do this work. But of course, when you offer yourself in service and you surrender to your inner, shall I say, God self, which we all have, or creator self. Some people get a bit nervous or worried about the word God because there's been so many terrible things done in the name of God, which has got nothing to do with God at all. So we'll say the creator. Our creator is within our heart and comes directly from a doorway, from our soul consciousness. And then it links up to much more than we know about our real selves. And we can communicate with that. And actually, there has been books written about conversations with God and the very way it's done. And so it has been done before with Indigenous people and the clever people. And certainly it can be done with all of us. It's possible. And so I'm getting a bit lost now what to do. So maybe I'll just shut up and call on Alturinga. And will you say if I'm running over time, please? Will that be all right, Kavita?
Yes, please continue.
Thank you. Now I think I've probably got about 10 minutes, have I? Something like that. Something like that?
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Alturinga, as I said, he's used an image of me and then he's put a beard on, a black beard on a black skin and the light between it in his side, inside. So I just laughed when I saw it. But I understand what he's doing. He's helping to connect for people to understand that ancestors are very real and you can communicate to them. And they're the ones that survive and help. Say, for instance, people living in the desert, and Western people living there wouldn't last 1 or 2 days. But with your ancestors, they tell you where water is and you dig and you survive, or food, those sort of things. So our ancestors can guide us and help us in our everyday life. And it makes it a lot easier if we listen to them and follow that guidance. We have free will so that we don't have to do anything, but it's our choice. And if we make it clear to our ancestors that we truly trust them, we know, we have that feeling. When they come with us, they have this feeling. And we have been told that names are not all that important. What is important is because we're all sentient beings, and it's our feeling, and we know that the energy is love and compassion and beautiful words that come to assist us always. All we have to do is ask. So I'm going to call upon, with great love, Alturinga, who says he resides at Uluru. And so it's important too, I think, considering we've got the meditation on December the 21st, which is very important. And also the Cosmic Consciousness Conference is also being held at that time at Uluru. So if anyone wants to look at that, there is a conference taking place as well there at Uluru. So I see myself, I've never walked on top of Uluru. I knew and understood and respected the sacredness of it. But in my light body, I can see myself sitting on top of the rock. And so I'm calling upon Alturinga right now, if you would please come and speak with us, and to Dr. Yugandhar and Kavita, who are so beautiful and lovingly offering this opportunity to help us spread what you want to say now. Thank you. Ooh. I am Alturinga, and I am very pleased to be here indeed. I welcome the opportunity, Dr. Yugandhar, and thank you very much for letting me speak. I have been trying to speak and share that the Uluru rock is actually come from the stars. The older people of the indigenous people used to say that and knew it, but there has been so much talk from the white man scientists that say it is not, and there is confusion, but I can assure you it has come from the stars. And it came as a asteroid with a string of other comets behind it. And at the same time that I gave this information to Valerie while she was holding the sacred Alkunga stone, which I introduced myself to her at that time in 1995, it was, no, 1994. And I wanted people to know, because, of course, there's been changes since the time that it came, but it came to destroy the dinosaurs. Now, that may seem not going against something that God, the Creator, would do, but this planet had been created as a Garden of Eden. It was a place in this corner of your Milky Way that was to bring light and love and compassion. For there were many races in this area of your Milky Way that were cold-blooded people, and they did not understand or know the feeling of being hurt or cut or feeling of love or compassion either. And so in actual fact, this is what has happened to go on to, and this is another story, to create the human, which is the light man, which evolved from the animal man. And this is the missing link. However, there has been written also by Valerie. We have given her the story, and many people have come remembering they were star people and they were on a specific mission when they came to Earth. And it is often held in a dreaming story by the indigenous people relating to the seven sisters of the Pleiades, which is the constellation of Taurus, which is connecting to the bull or the cow. And so I have much I could share, and I have given a lot of the information to Valerie, but there is really too much to share with one person. However, we do need some help from a scientist to prove and listen to the clues that we have given to Valerie, and she has also images within her that were given at the same time to help scientists, astronomers, if you like, to understand that Uluru is from the stars, indeed. And there have been changes, which is confusing as from just looking at the area. And that is all explained as well. So if a scientist would come forward and assist, contact Valerie, that would be very good, because she has much she could share to help. We're not trying to force anything, but we are trying to assist. It is important that people realize and understand the influence of the rock Uluru and its songlines that have gone out around the world and shared with other sacred areas on this earth, on this planet. And so I won't say any more, because I would like to ask if there's any questions. But for the moment, I will say goodbye. I am always available. If anybody wishes to call upon me, I will come. In the name of God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. So I think we're all right. He didn't stay as long as he did before. Yes, they're saying that it's important that people understand that Uluru is, and the reason why, with the evolution of what's happened on the earth, there's been certain major evolutions that have happened on earth, and it's important that people understand that, so that we can move forward, because we're still replaying cycles. And one of the biggest cycles is Uluru itself. And there has been talk in recent times, in August, about the, what do they call it? The leonine, the Lion's Gate. Well, actually, what Altaringa was just talking about was the original Lion's Gate, because it was the lion, or the race of the leonines from the constellation of Sirius, that actually brought the asteroid here to destroy. These dinosaurs were being created without the permission from the source of God or from the source of the creator. And they were wrecking the atmosphere that had been created with other things in mind. And so they had to go. The hierarchy did not like having to do that, but that was part of evolution and the playing out of what's been happening on this planet. It is a very important planet in connection with the universe. It is a role of a race that is hybrid with many, many influences in us as humans, and we are all here to help one another. That is a promise we make before we come. The soul is like a passport, so that everybody is monitored from the hierarchy. So don't think you are not watched, you are, but also always with love and compassion and always there when you need help. All you have to do is recognize it and understand it.